All right, we're back. Another episode of the Hooper Soul podcast. We have a full house. PJ, please introduce everybody over there. We have a new guest to the channel.
So the ones we know already, we got Louie,
Yo,
we got Jesus, and new member.
what's up? What's up? What's up?
This is Nate, my queen Nate.
What's good?
Could be, I think it is Jacob. You know.
What?
He's a Celtics fan for years. How long have you been a Celtics fan?
We're starting off already. Well, basically, I can say long story short, like I've been following them way back, like even KG days. Yeah, like that's not too long ago, but I think growing up, I actually did like Larry Bird and that era, but definitely when the big three with KG, Ray Allen,
Okay.
Paul Pierce, that era kind of got me more hyped. I have a lot of friends who are like Laker fans. I mean, respect. Like we're all good with each other.
That's cool.
But during that time, I just remember we'd watch the finals together, and we'd be like so mad because there was only like two or three of us who like the Celtics. Everybody else was Laker fans.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think from there that's kind of what like grew everything else. But I mean, before that, when I was younger, like I had respect for like the older era, like Larry Bird and all that jazz, and
Okay.
that whole era too against the Lakers was
You've seen everybody.
yeah, pretty much even during the dark days.
You've seen Russell, ladies and gentlemen.
I've never seen him playing, but you know who he is. Yeah, I was there with my camcorder, like right on. I was there. Not but yeah, I mean that's pretty much. I've been a fan for NBA for a long time before like the NFL. So
Okay, what's your favorite sneaker, by the way? Since you sneakers. Let's start
well,
with
one here dear to me is the 7210s, the 11s. I just picked up the military fours, but I like the older military fours, like
Yeah.
OGs.
Okay.
Shoot, there's a lot. The bread 11s, the other ones, bread fours.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think,
I have them right here.
yeah. But for sure, the 7210s are my favorite.
Okay.
Just because it's the, obviously the year they had the best record, and it's I mean, you can't go wrong with Jordan, even though it's expensive now.
Was it expensive in the 90s?
No, I mean, I didn't collect till like probably like 2010 era,
Yeah.
but my friends who were collecting like in 2000,
Yeah.
they were only like 180 for the
What? How much?
180.
That's still expensive.
It's still expensive. Yeah, but the lows were only like 150. I mean, now everything is like 250, 225. So
Okay.
yeah.
That's good to
But my first pair was 2016 Oreos.
Oreos. Well, what?
Fours.
Fours? I was there when
Yeah.
I fixed it.
Oreo fours.
Was there
It was still only 180, I think.
180? Yeah. I mean, they're not high fats, the breads.
Yeah.
Cosmo.
For sure.
Exactly. So,
I mean,
Those are pretty soft.
dude, they're nice. Yeah.
No, 100%.
black and white, easy to wear.
Well, a lot of people sleep on it if it's not like a major type of Jordan, like if it's not a 7210 or if it's not an 11 or if it's not like a.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I remember I had a pair of, damn, was it the 15s? They look crazy. They got like they look like fighter jets.
Oh,
Yeah. Man, that was like my first big shoe buy by myself. That was in high school. That's the first
Nice.
Jordans I ever caught for me. And everybody always, man, they look crazy. I'm like, I know, it's because everybody sleeps on them. Nobody ever buys them. You know?
Pretty much after 13s, people kind of like forget that there's more than that.
Mhm.
But there's like too many to name now. Even the Team Jordans.
Yeah,
Team Jordans.
Melo, Zion, everybody's got a shoe now.
Everybody's on Team Jordan. So
Yeah.
What's your favorite shoe?
My favorite shoe. See, I'm not really a shoe guy. I'm a clothes guy. I'm rocking this. I'm rocking that spring right now. If I had to think on it, damn.
You gotta be Jordans.
I always liked. You know what I always liked? The Yeezy 750s, the weird looking blue ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sweat. I always wanted a pair, man. But you know, I bought some bootleg ones. Like they were fake Yeezys,
Yeah.
but Adidas did a shoe that looked just like it. Had like the I don't even remember the name, but it had like the strap on it, bro. I wore those every day. Man, them things were so damn dirty. I couldn't clean that suede. But yeah, no, definitely 750s. I was always a big Adidas guy growing up. Like I always liked Nike, I always liked Jordan, but like when it came down to it, I was usually buying Adidas. So
Here's a hot take. I think Adidas basketball shoes are more comfortable than Nike.
100%, 100% with the Ultra Boost.
Basketball shoes.
You get you any shoe with Ultra Boost in it, man.
Like I used to wear the when I used to play, they were very durable. It was like forgot what they don't sell them anymore, but they were like you could use them on outdoor, indoor courts, and they were like they lasted for like at least 2-3 years.
Are they recent or are they?
No, they're older.
Yeah, because they've been carrying the league.
Yeah.
Adidas back then.
Yeah, the basketball shoes hit pretty good.
I'm gonna say it slept on. Everybody hated on it when it came out, but I swear I've always wanted a pair of the Kobe Adidas. See, looking
Actually, they recently released again, and I picked it up on StockX.
Oh, really? Dude, I've always liked it.
They're nice.
I've always liked that.
I'll bring them over. I'll show them one time. But I was trying to play basketball on them, and I was like, oh, these are only good for show.
Yeah. You can't play no basketball.
I mean, because it became a lifestyle shoe, and it wasn't a basketball shoe anymore.
Yeah.
But man, like, yeah, his the Crazy Eights, right?
Yes, the Crazy Eights. Yeah.
Yeah, they look. I'll bring them next time.
Yeah, those are always hard. Yeah, I got you.
Like Crazy
I
Eights.
always liked Ken Griffey Jr. Nikes.
Nice.
Yes, those ones are always fire, man. And it was crazy. They never sell out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always see them up in like Champion or Foot Locker. They're always just sitting.
Those are sick. Oh, you Jesus? What's your favorite pair of shoes?
Force. Yeah, you can't go wrong.
You know what's funny? I wore Force to prom. I wore Force to prom, and everybody was like, "Why are you wearing Jordans?" I was like, "Because why not?" I'm like, everybody's got You all got these boring dress shoes on. I'm like, I'm a stunning.
You could also say they're 180. They're more expensive than the prom.
Exactly.
You got some prom shoes too, right?
Yeah, they're the tuxedos.
The tuxedos.
Yeah.
These are the closest one I have to. And the Leggings, right? Oh, forget. I think they're the Jubilee.
How about you, Jason? What's your favorite shoe?
What'd you call me?
Oh man, did I forget your name?
I called you Jason.
I'm drinking, so.
That's crazy.
What's your favorite shoe?
Jacob.
That's
Jacob.
crazy.
There you go. See, I was close. I was close.
He's gonna edit it and I'm gonna bleep it out.
Here you go.
I'm
What's
leaving
your
that
favorite
in.
shoe, please?
No, I'm leaving that in. You're gonna have to live with that.
Yeah, my apologies.
You good? I think the first shoe I played basketball in was some Shaqs.
Nice.
But my favorite shoe is the boot. And in the playoffs, we just had 4 more teams catch the boot. We're down to 4 teams, conference finals. For the first time since the 1970s. In a 6-year span, we're going to have 6 different NBA champions. It's an exciting time.
That's it.
It's an exciting
That
time
is
for the
sick.
league. Right now,
exciting.
It's an exciting time. And what I want to know is, are we witnessing the death of the dynasty? You know, is the Warriors the last dynasty that we're going to witness? It's because you gotta ask yourself. I mean, the pieces that fell into play for them to get Kevin Durant, right? The cap space went up right as the year that Kevin Durant was going to be a free agent. You've got that heartbreaking Game 7 loss that the Thunder take to the Warriors. You've got a 73-9 squad who loses a heartbreaking Game 7 themselves.
Yeah.
You know, opening the door for Kevin Durant to come. I'm one who believes that if they would have won that Game 7, Kevin Durant doesn't sign with the Warriors. I think that they give Harrison Barnes the bag and say, okay, we've got a squad that's a championship-winning squad, and why would we break this up? You know, I can't foresee that ever happening again. So many things fell into place for that Warriors dynasty to really take off. I don't think we'll ever see it again.
Well, I just think there's too much talent now. Like the teams are like spread out now, and like everybody's not wanting to go to one team anymore. Like they're offering too much money. It's gonna be hard. If there is a dynasty that's really almost miraculous. I mean, the Warriors dynasty definitely when they came out, it was almost like a sleeper. Like nobody really knew about their big thing. Nobody knew about Curry.
Yeah.
Nobody knew about Draymond or Thompson, and then it just
popped in.
Yeah, they just.
Because I remember Curry what was he? I remember as a kid he was a March Madness legend.
Oh, yeah.
He ran Davidson or
He came out of nowhere too.
Yeah. And then he comes in, he's got all them ankle problems for like 3-4 years, and you know, I remember everybody thought he was a so-so. They were it was an argument: do we keep him or do we keep Monte Ellis? Yeah, do we keep him or Monte Ellis? And it's crazy nowadays to say I can't believe that Monte Ellis and Stephen Curry was even a question, but it really was at the time. And you know, to have that kind of homegrown talent, to have those type of hits. I mean, you get Draymond in the second round. Clay was like a mid first round.
Nobody knew about them.
Yeah, and for that to all fall into place.
Yeah.
I mean, further evidence to why I don't think another dynasty's coming. And if one is, it's going to take a while.
Yeah, it'll be expensive too.
Exactly. That's the thing.
It'll be expensive.
Imagine if Steph Curry played with Giannis. That's where Monte Ellis were.
Yeah,
That would have been crazy.
Yeah, we would have been talking about the Bucks right now.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well,
they got their one.
well, for right now, as we've said, the Bucks are not in the playoffs. But right now, the Celtics are playing the Pacers. As we've talked about, there's a Celtics fan in the house. So it's time to get some predictions going.
Yes, here we go.
Biased or unbiased? Let's go.
All right. Well, I'll try to be unbiased.
Let it fly.
I'll go for this one. I'm gonna say Celtics in 5 because if you look at the track record in this playoffs, they've lost game 2 each series.
Yes.
So I think Celtics in 5. Although, like, you gotta give props to Indiana. They went through Milwaukee and New York, which are tough accolades. But then you also have to remember that they went through teams that were like hurting. Well, Milwaukee didn't have Giannis.
They lost Giannis
or Lillard, and then Game 7, the Knicks lost Brunson.
Yeah.
But then I was just recapping and watching. They went off, like they wanted to win.
Yeah.
So that's the scary thing. I don't want to undercut Indiana because if I would undercut, I'd be like, oh yeah, the Celtics in 3. There's 4 games to win. But I think they'll probably win 1 or 2. But I'm gonna just to be a little bit biased to say Celtics in 5. But that's, I mean, we'll see. Anything could happen. It's the NBA. Like the Pacers is a 6 seed. Like, come on, guys. When's the last time you seen? Oh, I mean, I know Jacob could fact check that. When's the last time a 6 seed made it to a conference final?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, they've got the Heat last year going 9th seed.
Oh, that's right.
I was gonna say.
Take this back.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But still,
It wasn't a 6
Pacers,
seed.
they are, score 180.
Yeah.
The other team scores 182. It's if you can keep up with their offense, then you're going to beat them every series because they've got no defense. And I've got Celtics in 6. I kind of agree that I think that the Pacers are going to take a game or 2 off of them. I think that offense is just way too potent for them. They're going to have a night where everybody's on and they're going to drop like 174 points, something crazy, 150 points, and the Celtics, as we know, we got into a big argument last episode. Jason Tatum, he's off and on. He's Mr. Off and on.
We can talk about him.
and and we're watching live. I mean, Pacers Celtics is happening as we speak. I got to bring up the stats. I don't know how Tatum's doing tonight, but you're going to get those nights where Tatum just doesn't perform.
Yeah.
And they've got one hell of a team. You got Drew Holiday, who it's insane that he's like a 3rd option, 4th option because the Bucks, that was their top defensive dog. Some nights when Middleton was off, that's their 2nd option. I mean, he won them that championship against the Suns. But I got Celtics winning this, and as I already called, I've got Celtics winning the finals. They're a buzzsaw, and it's hard to keep up with that kind of talent.
PJ.
Whoa,
Wait, what'd you say? Wait.
It's over.
The mic didn't pick it up. The mic didn't.
Let me hear.
Wait, PJ, move the mic closer.
My Pacers in 6.
I've been following the Pacers.
But I know. Before you started the podcast, you were a big Halley fan. That's why we were talking about that way before. I know you're a big Halley fan.
I do got Pacers in 6.
Pacers in 6.
That's wild.
Are you paying off Vegas or something?
I know. Hey, I mean, as we speak, the Pacers are down 10 right now.
They are down 10.
and they're about to give up 50. It's for the 5-minute mark.
What's your
Originally, I had them in 6. I don't want to change that answer.
what's your
I got a Celtics fan right here. He said Celtics in 6 in the finals.
what's your like summation? Why do you think they're gonna win it in 6?
I don't know. I just think they really know how to move the ball well. Everybody knows how to play with each other.
Uh-huh.
You got Tyrese Halliburton. He's a good playmaker on the floor. He's like the Chris Paul of today.
Right.
And then off the bench, you got another good playmaker with T.J. McConnell. He replaces Tyrese. The remainder, if he's not in the floor, you got another playmaker moving the ball for him.
Andrew, isn't his name Andrew Neesmith? Is that right, Jacob?
He hit that big shot.
Nembhard?
Nembhard
or
there you go.
Nesmith?
Sorry, Nembhard.
They have
They
Neesmith
both.
also on the team.
But Neesmith is hurt right now.
Oh yeah, that's
No,
right.
no, Matherin's hurt. Matherin's hurt. Nesmith is playing.
Yeah, yes. Benedict Mathurin is the one that's hurt, and they're missing him because he was excellent when he was playing. For me, when it comes to the Pacers, Halliburton before that injury, excellent. I mean, we were witnessing like 07 Chris Paul, Hornets Chris Paul all over again, just total game
Could have been the
changer.
NBA MVP. Remember?
Yeah, I had him as MVP before the
He
injury.
did too, right? Remember he was like top 3.
But then he gets injured, and let's call it what it is. He's become Mr. 17 and 7. He's going to give you 17 points, 7 assists, and that's just not game changing. When you're playing a team like the Celtics, who their second option, Jaylen Brown, could have gone and been a first option on any bad team, right? I argued for my Rockets to sign him. I just thought we should have. And like that was my argument. He could have been a first option anywhere. So when you've got a team this good for the Celtics, you need a guy to step up. I mean, Pascal Siakam's been good for them, but I wouldn't necessarily say he's been great.
He's still figuring out he's got
Yeah.
now I'm just playing.
He's still trying to figure out that he was an all-star.
He's a beast, though. He's a beast. He's a beast.
He's been
Wasn't thinking, correct me if I'm wrong, he started in the G League before he came.
Yes, he was the MVP of the G League.
The G League. And he's good. He's a big man, but I mean, my thing is they're doing all this without Porzingis.
Right there.
And Porzingis
That's also true.
But that right there, that's the death sentence of the Pacers. What we just witnessed is Jason Tatum doing a little spin move on Obi Toppin and getting to the rim with no issue, no nothing. And he got fouled, so it's an and one. The Pacers got no defense. They got no defense. I thought Miles Turner was going to be a stopper. He's really not.
He's more of a defensive player too, not Miles Turner.
Yeah.
But your defense player.
But he's really not a difference maker on defense. The way, and I give him his props because I used to hate on him. Rudy Gobert has proven himself to be a difference maker.
Are we gonna talk about that fine?
well, hold on. we'll get over there in a sec, but let's finish out. Let's finish out this conversation. Louie, do you have a prediction on this series?
I've got for this series specifically, Celtics Pacers. I've got Celtics in 6, 100%.
All right, Jesus.
Jesus has same.
Same? All right. So the way I've looked at it since the beginning of the playoffs, we all love Halliburton. We all want him to be great. I've said from the beginning, I thought this was just going to be a learning year. I thought this was just going to be get some playoff experience, learn what the environment is, and if you get bounced in the first round by the Bucks, it's okay. You're the 6th seed. You're missing Mathurin. It's Halliburton's first playoffs ever. If you lose, it's fine. And then Giannis gets hurt. And then Dame gets hurt. Now they're in the second round. Now they're going against the Knicks. And then OG Anunoby gets hurt. Hart gets hurt. Fucking Mitchell Robinson. Everyone's getting hurt. And now they're in the conference finals. Now they're 4 games from the finals. So I'm like, this was just supposed to be a learning experience for them. And we've already seen Halliburton. He's had a lots of off games as he's trying to adjust to the playoffs. But he's also had some really good games. Had some games where he put up, over 30 points, shooting 50% from 3. So he's showing flashes of what he can be in the future when he gets more experience just in the playoffs and with the team. But, I've been a big Halliburton stan, but I would definitely say Celtics in 6. I'll say Celtics in 6. But I see there's a very small chance of if the Pacers would essentially have to replicate what the Heat did last year. Just shoot unbelievably hot from 3 for 4 games. If they could do that, then they'll win. But obviously, that's a lot easier said than done.
I mean, and when you look at the Heat, it's the same playbook. You know, the Heat had a guy like Caleb Martin become great. You know, they had role players become great. And the Pacers are going to need the same thing. They're going to need Obi Toppin. They're going to need Miles Turner. They're going to need Pascal Siakam, T.J. McConnell. You know, Andrew Nesmith, or you know what I'm saying. They're going to need these dudes who, you know, you don't typically look at, and you know, because you're looking at Hallie and you're saying, okay, Halliburton, he's the guy, he's the star.
Yeah.
But it's really going to come down to these role players. It's really going to come down to their bench if they can keep, you know, because they got those games where they go and shoot like 60% from three, and you just can't stop that offense. And if they could do that, the issue is it's a game. You know, you got to win 4, and to do that 4 times, because that's what it's going to take against these Celtics. Is some excellent shooting, some excellent offense, some untimely mistakes from Tatum. You know, disappearance games from Tatum, disappearance games from Brown. That's what the Pacers are going to need. If they want to get through this series. And then, I mean, if you guys want to keep talking about the East, unless you guys want to switch to the West, because
I got 2 things real quick. So, I think, okay, first and foremost, if Celtics lose, okay, props to whoever beats them. It's because they lost to themselves. Like, straight up, they won't be playing as a team. Like literally, I talked to my friend about it. Like, he's a big shout out to Justin. He's a big like NBA fan. He's a Laker fan too, but he likes the Mavs. He was saying that the only way the Celtics lose is to themselves, like because they're not playing as a team. But number 2, like what you said, is if the bench warms up and heats up, that's what's going to kill like any team, like especially Pacers bench, because then they're not prepared to play the bench, they're prepared to play the starting 5. And when the bench heats up, it's like, how do you prepare? You always prepare for the starting 5. You don't really prepare for the B team.
Yeah.
But if they come off and pop off and score like 20, 10, like those points will matter in the end. And I mean, that's the thing. That's what's scary about the NBA is like if one guy from your bench can get like 40 points.
Yeah.
Like Malachi Flynn, he scored 50. He's not even a starter, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, if that happens with the Pacers, if they go off, then that's what's going to make it probably go to past 6, 7.
No, I agree 100% because and they don't even need 50. If we get an Obi Toppin 18-point game, if we get a T.J. McConnell 15-point game,
that's a lot of points.
Yeah, and the Celtics will be in trouble. If one of these bench guys can find a way to just get hot when they get onto the floor, there's going to be issues. And I mean, Tatum's got him here before. He's gotten to the finals before. You know, we all watched the Warriors series.
Yeah.
It's going to take. Oh, here we go. I mean, Drew Holiday just hit a 3 right now, and we're saying a lot, but the Celtics are up big, and they're probably going to add on to this lead. I've got full confidence in the Celtics. But if the Pacers have any hope, it's going to take these other guys. It's not going to be Halliburton that's going to win the series. It's simply not.
It's a team. Definitely a team.
All right, to end this conversation, you know, we're talking about the bench. Obi Toppin lit it up in the first quarter, had 11 points, stemmed what started off as a 12-0 start of the Celtics over the Pacers. T.J. McConnell has 4 points off the bench, and it's only a 6-point game. It's definitely not out of reach for the Pacers, and we're still in the second quarter, so we'll see what happens there. But, the other series.
They just swung it to Holly, swung it back. Oh, that's a good hezzy right there, baby.
Yeah, and if you see us looking somewhere, they're looking up. They got the game on. If you see me looking left, I got the game on. I got the game on.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep our focus.
You know,
Maybe they should just put on silence so we can watch this. Focus on the podcast.
Yeah.
It's almost halftime. We'll be all right.
It's typical not to watch. I mean, Holly just hit a crazy 3.
We'll be all right.
There you go.
Wouldn't you think if they didn't have defense, they would be up by 20 right now?
If the Celtics didn't have defense or the Pacers did?
Pacers.
You know,
Since you said they don't have defense.
they really don't. But look at they're scoring big. But the fact that they don't have defense is why they just scored 55 before the halftime.
Yeah.
You know, that's huge for any team to score 55 before the half.
Yeah.
But yet the Boston Celtics have 57.
Yeah.
And that's been the issue with the Pacers is they can score all these points and they've got this breakneck offense.
It gasses you up though.
It gasses you out and they just simply don't have a defensive mind. And look, I remember as a Houston Rockets faithful, when Mike D'Antoni coached us, and it was 3 or die, and there was no defense to us. It was 3 or die. If you couldn't get a dunk, you shot the three. We had the exact same type of games that these Pacers have, or we would score 150 and the other team would score 154 because they kept up with us because we didn't stop them, they didn't stop us, and there was nobody to be that stopper. The Pacers just don't have that stopper.
Gotcha.
You know, they don't have. I thought the Knicks were gonna take out this series because to me the difference maker between the Pacers and the Knicks should have been OG Anunoby.
Yeah.
The kind of guy that can keep up with anybody on the floor, the kind of guy that can be that stopper. But untimely injuries and everything.
Well, also I want to mention that they're not playing their starting squad, so that's why they're probably giving them time to chill out and come back.
Yeah.
So it's just, I mean, NBA is a streaky game too, right?
Yeah.
So
I would say that the Pacers, if I can make an NFL equivalent, it was the Detroit Lions this year. A kind of team, that you looked at and you said this could be a fun year for them. Not really like Jacob was saying, you're kind of looking at this as a learning experience, and maybe you go on a run, but then you end up in the NFC Championship,
and bam,
and you're like, whoa, how the hell did we get here, right? The Pacers are experiencing the same thing. I think that the Pacers, I would not be surprised if they have a bit of a fall off next year because I think the expectations are going to be higher. You just made it to the Eastern Conference Final.
I think a lot of other teams in the East are going to fall off because I think that we're going to see a lot of players leave from some teams. I'm looking at the Cavs. I'm looking at
and Trae Young.
I'm looking at maybe I don't know what the Sixers are going to do with all that money, but we'll have to see. There's 2 people signed to that roster next year. It's Embiid and Maxey, and no one else is under contract. So we have no idea what their team is going to be next year. But I have hopes for the Pacers. I have hopes.
And you know what? That's a good point. That's a fair point. That there's way more teams that are going to be, because everybody's going west, and there's you got the rumors Trae Young going to the Spurs. Hell, maybe even DeJounte Murray makes a return to the Spurs. A lot of these younger, so Western Conference teams that have loaded up, but they just haven't gotten over the hump yet are gonna, they're gonna want to acquire a lot of this talent that's sitting in the East right now. And I will say this, and I'm gonna call it here, and I want to rerun this footage in some months. The Detroit Pistons are in the playoffs.
No.
Yes, I'm calling it. The Detroit Pistons are your 9th seed next year. I'm calling it.
Wow.
So we did a free agency pickup yesterday. What would help for the team? I was saying that the Detroit Pistons has a really bright future ahead of them. They got a great defender in Oscar Thompson, a great playmaker in Kate Cunningham, great scorer in Ivy. They just need a 4, right? Because the run's good at second.
Yes.
Jacob doesn't think they're going to make it in the future in maybe a couple years, give them 3-4 years. I think they could make it. And they just had a bad start. Not everyone played with each other yet. These guys are still new.
I don't think I think that Monty Williams wasn't the right coach for them.
Steven Celtics, their assistant.
I think that honestly, I like Duran, but when you remember Rudy Gay when he was on the Grizzlies, Rudy Gay on the Raptors, Kevin Love on the Wolves.
Yeah.
You got to be careful with these guys who look really good on bad teams because when they leave bad teams, you suddenly realize. And I hate to say it because I like Jalen Duran. He was one of the youngest guys in the league when he came in.
Yeah.
But I can foresee him not being as good as we think just because he's getting way more opportunities than he should be getting. If I'm the Pistons, I go after Jonas Valanciunas. I'm going to just say it. Yes, I go after Jonas Valanciunas.
I just try to keep that young core a little bit more.
That young core didn't get you nothing. You need trusted veterans. You need trusted veterans.
Kate Cunningham has been injured for a while. Ivy was a rookie. Asar was a rookie. Their 4 sucks.
Hence why you need these veterans that have been on winning squads.
They can pick. I'm pretty sure they have money to pick up like Kevin Love.
But is Kevin
Love is old.
Yeah, I was about to say 2024 Kevin Love.
Like a vet.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying like Paul George.
What's your hot take? Who's the big name they pick?
Yeah, who's the big pickup?
Well, if they have the money to get Paul George or Klay Thompson, might as well get one of them.
No. You stick with Jaden Ivey. I think Ivy has proven himself to be a cut above the rest on a bad roster to the point that
logo.
I think that Klay Thompson. I honestly think Klay Thompson's a bench role on the Lakers.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying, I'm sorry.
I think Jacob Speed's ahead of us.
Jacob's seeing things we don't see.
I was like,
I'm
holy
from the future.
nice.
Okay, well here's what I'll say, because we did have a whole video about this yesterday that is still being edited and uploaded. I don't think Paul George is going there, and I don't think Clay wants to go there either. So I was like, you know, because we talked about the bottom 10 teams. I was like, Paul George is not. He doesn't want to go to one of these teams. He's not even in their
No.
cards right now. Like they gotta settle for the 2 tiers of free agents below him. But anyways, we just went to halftime, so we can all stop watching the game. So now
Yes,
we're gonna
finally,
go over.
finally.
So now we're gonna go over to the other series we have left. We have the Minnesota Timberwolves, led by Anthony Edwards, going up against Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks. And before we start anything, I'm gonna ask PJ something. PJ, I
Okay.
think it's time you issue an apology. I think it's time you apologize. There's
Wanna
one
hear
person.
why?
There's one person you need to apologize to. I think it's time. I think it's
I
time.
do.
There's the guy you hate. I think it's time. I think you gotta
Oh,
apologize. I think you
The
gotta
cat-
apologize.
giving him his respect. I was giving Cat his respect after the Suns games. So I mean, Cat, if you're watching this, I apologize to you. You've been here for us. You've been here for the Timberwolves. Thank you.
I'm gonna eat crow. I called Nuggets. I called Nuggets in 6. I said, oh, you know, they went 0-2 at home for the Wolves, and I thought that this series was over. I thought that the Nuggets would have that championship mentality to take over, and they simply didn't. And the Wolves, I think Game 7 proves how dangerous they are because Anthony Edwards had a bad game.
He did.
He had a truly bad game, and yet the Timberwolves, everybody stepped up for him. And that's the kind of thing that, you know, we were just saying with the Pacers, that it's going to take everybody else besides their star.
Yeah.
And the Wolves have proven that everybody else besides their star can step up. And when you look at the Mavs, I mean, Derek Lively, you know, who takes over? If Kyrie's off, if Luka's off, who takes over?
That's my point. That's the point I was gonna make for predictions.
I've got Wolves going all the way.
I
To be honest,
have them 5. I'll give the Mavs one game.
got 6. I got 6. Yeah. Jesus has them in 6 as well.
Because Kyrie and Luka's the only scoring options. Yeah, you have PJ Washington shooting the 3 off the corner, but the Wolves, the whole 5 is full defense. You have guys who could get hot up.
Mhm.
I mean, you can keep PJ Washington in the corner. I'm pretty sure how the defense is gonna be lined up. It's gonna be Jaden McDaniels guarding Luka.
I was just about to say that.
We already have Ant saying I want Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be a good matchup.
Yeah.
That's a good matchup already. And you can have Mike Conley guarding one of the guys in the corner. And then whoever is in, Rudy Gobert guarding Derek Lively or Gafford.
He's just taking that paint, just holding that paint.
Like
down.
Gafford, he could shoot the 3, but he's not consistent.
And I agree completely. If I'm the Wolves, I look at PJ Washington, I say, okay, you've got to beat us. We're gonna put all our defensive effort on these two offensive maestros.
Yes.
And we're going to look at a guy like PJ Washington, who we've seen in these playoffs get hot, who we've seen lead the team in scoring. And we're going to say, can you do that for 4 games? Can you do it for 4 games? Because we're going to keep up with you. We've got Cat. We've got Jaden McDaniels gets hot. Mike Conley gets hot. You know, Anthony Edwards is Anthony Edwards. That's the start, right?
We also have Nasri coming off the bench.
And shout out to Nasri, 6th man of the year, man.
Did a lot against Jokic.
He's playing like it. So here's what one thing I do want to say. PJ Washington from the left corner 3 is shooting 50%. It's kind of insane. Like he has that shot down. So I mean, we talked a lot about when he put up 25 or whatever the hell happened that one night.
Yes.
But he was hitting the shots. I mean, shit. There's a reason he led that game in scoring. So, I am hoping. I predicted Nuggets Wolves to go to 7 just because I wanted to watch 7 games. I'm doing the same thing here. I'm saying Timberwolves in 7. I think this is gonna be cinema. Like we already said, Kyrie versus Ant, cinema, and then, man, I don't know. Something is telling me there's a chance this might be the Mavericks year, but there's a little chance because I do think the Timberwolves are the better team still. I am going Timberwolves, but man, if Luka plays like he deserves that he deserved that MVP because man, last game was he did his thing last game. If he can keep that up, because I know he was playing injured before, and that's part of why they lost some of those games against the Thunder.
Mm.
But man, if he plays like that, and if Kyrie can come back to Earth, come back to flat Earth, I don't know where his shot. I don't know where his aggression, his shot is not falling. I don't know what's going on. But if he can become the second option that we all know he can be, and then PJ Washington is now your third guy in the corner, that's like the third most dangerous person, then you're cooking. So there's a chance. I do think there's definitely a chance the Mavericks win, but like we've already said, the grit from this Timberwolves team is incredible. So I'm going Wolves in 7.
And I agree completely, Jacob. I think that with all these other teams, it's always the bench who can take over, who can take over. Luka Doncic and I mean he's on another level.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we get a Mavs win, we're gonna be right back here saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe Luka averaged 38 points. I can't believe, you know what I mean? I can't believe Luka had a triple double for 4 games to win this." Luka's got that kind of that just mentality and that level of skill. That's just I like Anthony Edwards. He is not at Luka Doncic's level. Like Luka Doncic is maybe 2 levels above a guy like Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
He may not have the same complete squad like Anthony Edwards has, but when Luka's hot, I mean, you see historical stuff happen. You see things that you've never seen happen when Luka's on. And if Luka can do that for the series, nobody's gonna stop him. On a bad Luka night, he puts up 25. And that's a bad Luka night. So if he can stay hot for 4 games, man, I've got the Mavs.
Nate, how you feeling?
I'm going opposite of you guys. I mean, I like the Timberwolves. I mean, they're young, they're hungry. I mean, yeah, we don't have to talk a lot about that because we know all of their accolades. But I will say Dallas in 7. I know it's like a hot take, like maybe why? Well, I mean, let's just see. Dallas, they just beat OKC.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the number one. I mean, number one maybe doesn't mean it's just a placeholder, but that was the best team in the West.
Yes.
And like what you guys been saying, if Luka takes over, and then if Kyrie comes back in the playoff form, and we've seen him, he's already won an NBA title with LeBron.
I see.
And it was literally him and LeBron who won that title. Like, I don't know if you guys agree with that, but it was them two who won that title. If Kyrie can get to that old playoff like form in this finals, and it's a different ballgame, regular season and postseason. Like people hit, but again, it's a hot take that they might take in the 7. But as we've been saying, just like with the Pacers and the Celtics, whoever's bench decides to step it up and decides to ride that and take their team to the greatness, what is the NBA championship, then that's whoever wants it more. And I think Dallas has a slight wanting it more factor the fact that they took out the number 1. Luka, I mean, how many years without role players has been to the like the playoffs, and he's like super hungry. I mean, they're so young. That's the thing. They're so young too. I feel like if the Wolves do lose it, it's probably because of possibly ego, and the experience, the experience factor. Because I mean, the Wolves went last year, right? Weren't they number 1 last year? They were number 1 seed last year.
I don't think so.
I
think Denver was number 1.
Oh no,
the Wolves were high. I do remember.
The Wolves were high.
No.
Because they played them round 1.
If I believe,
I think that was a few years ago. It was a few years ago.
7th or 8th, I believe, in the first round.
But they're young and they're upcoming, so I mean, they have a lot to grow. But if Dallas can be Dallas, if Luka can take over, if Kyrie takes over, and their bench somehow shows up, it's going to be a tough. I hope it goes to 7. I mean, we might see both series for some reason go to 7 for the money.
Yeah,
but I mean that's aside the fact. I just feel like Dallas has a slight chance against Timberwolves, but it will be a close series. Now, if I'm not gonna change my prediction. I'm gonna stay Dallas in 7. But if, for example, if Timberwolves are like 3-0, then it's a done deal. There's no way Dallas come back. But it'll be interesting to
I
go.
think my argument against that, you said that they beat the number 1.
Did they?
No.
Yeah.
You
they
say
did.
the Mavs beat the number 1.
Yeah,
Timberwolves just beat the defending champs.
that's true.
And they had a tie
That's true.
with the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Timberwolves was also tied with that team. So,
I just think it's interesting that nobody here thinks it's going to be a blowout. Nobody here thinks it's going to be 4 or
It better
5.
not be.
We can all agree that it's going to be close.
It better be.
yeah, but yeah,
It's going to come down to the wire. I would say, I think Celtics Pacers has the highest chance of being a blowout. But I truly think Mavs and Wolves, it's going to be a war. And it can truly come down to a game 7 where it's just whoever steps up in that moment.
Where's Jesus
It's gonna
at?
be. I mean, it's gonna be a good series regardless.
Where's Jesus at?
Over here.
He's over here. You know he's always off camera. That's Jesus' style.
What is he?
Jesus.
You have a prediction, sir?
For Mavs and Wolves.
Yeah. Tim's and 6.
He's got Tim's and 6.
Okay.
Damn. See, I think we can all agree it's going to be game 6, game 7. Yeah.
I sure hope so. I sure hope so. And, we talked a lot about, how hard it's going to be to have a dynasty. I do, to talk about the point I said before about how the past 6 champions are going to be unique. All the stars on these teams, none of them have a ring. It's going to be the first for one of these guys. It's going to be the first.
Can we give props to that?
It's going to be the first for one of them.
Either Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, Anthony Edwards, or Luka Doncic. One of these men are going to solidify their legacy and are going to move up some ranks. They're going to move up some conversations.
Absolutely.
And, we just got to give our flowers to that. That it's always beautiful to see some fresh faces, these young guys. As the older generation moves on, we've got 4 young dudes who have been considered the top of the young generation. One of them's getting a ring, and it's going to change some conversations on who's the top dog of this generation. We're let's be honest, we're witnessing the end of LeBron, we're witnessing the end of Curry. We're witnessing the end of all that.
It's a new era of basketball. I think you guys probably talked about it in your previous podcast, but like this basketball is different. I mean, they're built different, and it's a faster paced game. No longer can you just like be a big center man and think you could like last with these big like fast guys. But yeah, it's interesting like the change of guard is happening. Like, I mean, granted, okay, like if we'll go back to like the first series with LA. I mean, they kept up with the Nuggets, but it's like LeBron still couldn't do it. I mean, old LeBron probably would have took over. But I mean, these guys are getting older, they're getting gassed, and these younger guys are just coming up. It's kind of crazy. The game is also changing. It's changing. 100%. So we're in a different era compared to like 2000, 2010, even the 90s. It's completely different.
And one thing I want to say about LeBron, this playoffs, it was the first time I've seen him visibly gassed ever.
Right?
It's the first time I've ever seen him actually hands on his knees. I can see that he's moving slower than before. Yeah. And then the other thing I want to mention, can we talk about the game is changing? I think that the importance of the 3-point line, it's what's making these bench players more important. It's easier for bench players to make an impact if their job is play defense and hit a 3. Because back in the day when you couldn't hit a 3, what were you even out there for? They didn't shoot 3s back then. Like, were you gonna take a mid range away from Jordan? You take a mid range away from Clyde Drexler or whoever? Like, you weren't gonna do anything out there. So I feel like now, just as more people are playing the game, people are learning more skills, people are hitting 3s. Now we have the team like the Pacers, where Hallie doesn't even have to go off every game. He can rely on getting open shots for all of his bench players. And then the Timberwolves, they have a deep bench too. One of the best benches. And then, just it's a recurring thing with these teams. They have good role players. They have good bench depth, which is where we see teams like the Suns fail. We see them give up their depth. We see them give up their depth, and now they have KD, Beal, and Booker, and they get bounced in 4. So it really is a new era. Like, we had the super team era for a little bit with the KD and the LeBron on the Heat stuff. But now now we're progressing past that. Now
Yeah,
we're really reaching a really nice level of parity in the
And I
league.
think that it's incredible. It's incredible how new all this is because you mentioned Clyde Drexler, these older guys, but I mean you look at a dude like Josh Smith, who not even that long ago, maybe a decade ago, was an all-star. I mean he doesn't fit in this game anymore.
Now he plays golf.
Yeah, you've got guys like Roy Hibbert who were all-stars and they just don't fit into this game anymore. And it wasn't that long ago that we saw dudes like this fitting in and these dudes finding niches for themselves. It just doesn't exist. You've got to shoot the three, and you've got to have some type of jump shot or willingness to shoot. We've given Ben Simmons crap for years and years and years for his just complete unwillingness to shoot. No, it's just it's been incredible to witness in our lifetime and in just the last few years, just the game of basketball just completely changing.
Right.
We could thank the Warriors for that.
Curry, Thompson,
for finally breaking the code. That maybe scoring 3 points a lot's better than.
I think Durant too, because now you have centers shooting threes. I mean, if you were to go back to 2010, 2000, you're like Shaq shooting the three.
Yeah,
like what the heck? That's all nearly damn impossible for him to shoot a three. I mean, granted, he did make some threes. Like he did.
Probably made like 5 in this game.
No, I think he made one.
Yeah,
just one.
Yeah, I think it was a half court heave when he was on the Magic, and I swear and you can fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure that the only three Shaq ever hit was a half court heave. But I mean, look at a guy like Brook Lopez. During our time watching this game, his evolution from a post scorer
to a 3-point
to a 3-point specialist to a 5-and-D specialist.
Right.
Dudes, while playing, have had to change. That tells you how new this era is. That there are men whose career started in a different era that have now had to change their play style to fit into this new era that's come around.
Dwight Howard overseas is shooting threes. I mean, it's funny that like everybody is like you said, they live and die by the three, and that's the new dunk basically.
Yeah,
like, people still love dunks, but when those threes hit, it's just like it's magnificent. It's magnificent.
It's beautiful. I mean, just culturally, right? I mean, the dunk contest, everybody can agree that it's pretty much dead at this point.
Yeah.
But the amount of eyes that the 3-point contest brings.
Yeah.
Versus the dunk contest, it shows you that it's a changing landscape. The fans have gotten on board that the three is the new, just like you said. I think you make a good point that the three is the new dunk. It's exciting to watch a guy shoot from the logo, to watch a guy step back,
right?
And, sidestep. I just watched a real great Halliburton sidestep three right now before halftime that gets that same level of excitement that like a Vince Carter between the legs during the game would have got, right?
Yeah.
It's a changing landscape culturally. It's a changing landscape, strategically as a coach, and that's and if I don't know if you guys want to touch on the draft at all. I think Zach Edey's got no place in the NBA. I think that Zach Edey has no place in the NBA.
Oh man. Okay, well. The game just turned back on, so if our conversation quality takes a nosedive, that's why. But
if we're suddenly staring up and not talking for 5 minutes.
I think I was thinking if you guys ever did another segment, I don't know if you did it, but we should do like the history of the dynasties. It'll be a really good hot take. I mean, you can look at how these new dynasties have started because it always started with a big three, but I mean, was it always a big three? I mean, you could look at all the way from like the early like Russell years to now. I mean, that'll be a good hot take.
Well, you definitely need to have you back on the podcast. You've seen Kareem on the Bucks.
Oh, you got jokes,
Kareem in the 80s.
Yeah,
I'm sure you've seen all
the greatest era or rivalries ever too.
Okay, give me a pause.
You pause? Okay.
Okay, I'll take over. Nelly, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a bit of a technical issue.
Is this recording?
Yeah, I'm recording. I'm still recording.
We gotta take a little time out. PJ got a technical foul by his mom. I'm just about to two shots.
I will say though, on your point about the history of dynasties, when you look at the Bulls, that was a genuine big too. You have guys that stepped up. You've got everybody knows Steve Kerr. One of the best Three point specialist of all time. But I would argue that the big three is a relatively unique concept. Okay, I'm looking at a cat, ladies.
Just see if you want to see a cat that have been saved from outside.
What?
Oh, okay, distracted. But anyways,
Yes. Continue.
Yeah, I think what you said. If you guys ever turn into a segment in the future, it would be good to talk about, especially that dynasty. Everybody's probably watched The Last Dance, but I think back to our original point, it would be hard to find a dynasty in this season era of basketball, just because there's so much talent that's being spread out. I mean, money talks too. I mean, look, if Trae Young went to the Celtics or something, I mean, let's just so example. I mean, not people are a big fan of him, but I'm just saying, if you put somebody in there that's like a big name. I mean, and you look at Durant; he's trying to fit himself in other dynasties where he had won rings, but that's not really working. He's getting old, but he still got it. But you never see teams like the Jordan era where they stay on the team for more than 5 years, 6 years. Like everybody's a journeyman. Even LeBron. I mean, he won. How many win with the Heat? He won two.
Yeah.
Then he went back home, won with the Cavs. Then he tried to win. Then he won one with LA. So respect. He won it with 3 different teams.
Yeah.
So he has 4. But you wouldn't see him win 4 with the Cavs.
Yeah.
Like it's just harder in this era. If you were to do that, but I mean, we never know. Maybe there might be let's say a hot take, like crazy prediction. You see, the Pistons might be good. What if they make a dynasty and then they win 3? And we're like, where did this come from? But look, Jacob shaking says like, nah,
No.
that's
That's not how Detroit sports
I think
works.
never that.
a big part of that though is the way that contracts have changed.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Yeah, during the Bulls dynasty, Scottie Pippen was on practically a lifetime deal. I believe it was like 10 years that he was on that deal. That only exists in baseball nowadays.
Yep.
The NFL doesn't have that. I think Mahomes might have got a really big long contract, but like the NBA doesn't give those out anymore. I remember Mutombo had gotten a huge lifetime deal. I want to say with the Nuggets, it was like 10, 15 years.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Magic
and
Johnson got 25 years.
yeah, you don't get those anymore.
Yeah.
The guys at most will get a 6-year, and that's an extension. Really, it's not a 6-year deal. It's just part of an extension.
4 year, 3 4 years, then they get traded.
Yeah, and the level of player agency you have in the NBA nowadays has just completely changed what we think a dynasty is.
Yeah,
because you've witnessed it in the NFL as well. The new meta of the NFL is rookie deal quarterback and then sign a bunch of big name skill position guys on short-term deals, get them off of the team before you have to give the big contract to the quarterback. And I think you're going to start seeing that with some of these teams where, you've got Wembanyama, who has proven himself to be a superstar immediately. You've got, 5 years of a rookie deal because you've got your 4 years plus your team options. And the Spurs are on the clock to start putting. That's why you're hearing these rumors about Trae Young. That's why you're hearing these rumors about DeJounte Murray, because they're not going to have this kind of cap space when they have to give Wembanyama that generational contract that's going to change what contracts look like. We know it's coming. The deal that Wembanyama will get will change what we think people are worth in the NBA, and I think that might become the new meta. Obviously the Spurs get lucky that they get a guy who's like once in a generation.
7'10".
Yeah, like a dude who can dribble, but he's also 7'5".
He's basically like the creative character that everybody did as a little kid.
Exactly. But I can see that the way that the NFL has taken on this new idea of taking advantage of rookie deals and just building around short-term deals for all these different these different pieces around your superstar on his rookie deal. I think the NBA is going to move to that as well.
To that point, I think just today or just yesterday, Jalen Brunson turned down a 5-year, $250+ million deal. Instead, he's signing for 4 years, $150 million. So that's $100 million less dollars, so that his team can spend that money elsewhere, get more talent on the Knicks. So if we're talking about these team-friendly deals, this is kind of like what Tom Brady used to do. Tom Brady would take these smaller contracts that the Patriots could keep signing people.
Stack up the dynasty,
right? So we might see stuff like that. We could see stuff like that. I know James Harden took a pay cut last year for the Sixers. So things like that might be. I doubt we'll see a lot of that because get your bag, right? Get your bag while you can.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for these guys that are really here to bring a ring to their team, I mean, we could see
You
stuff
know,
like
would
that.
be it'd be really interesting because you know how Harden, Westbrook, and Durant are getting old. They all go back to OKC for one last dance. That would be cool. I mean, obviously they'll probably lose.
Yeah.
But you know, it'd be amazing if they actually win it with OKC and they're all like 38, 37. But I mean, highly unlikely, but that would be
You could
amazing,
go to a team that has that type of money.
right?
I mean, OKC does because OKC, like I'm saying with this new meta, it's all rookie deals. It's all these rookie deals. That's what you're gonna want to load up on. You're gonna want these guys who come into the league ready to play. Who, I mean, I'm looking at this draft. I think we can all agree this is a bit of a weaker draft. There's not really a standout star. Maybe Sar. Sar's gonna be really good. Um, I think that he's getting a bit overhyped because the expectation with him is Wemby 2.0, right? We missed out on the Wemby. We missed out on the Wembenyama sweepstakes. So now we're gonna attempt it with another big French center who's tall, has a lot of skill. I don't think he's gonna be as good as Wembenyama. I don't think we're gonna see another Wembenyama ever in our lives. But I do think that it's gonna be the new meta is load up on these rookie deals, load up on these cheap deals, so that you can sign around them for these 2-3 year deals that are gonna run out by the time. I mean, my Houston Rockets are doing that right now. Everybody shit on us for signing Dylan Brooks, signing Fred VanVleet. But if you really look at it, these deals are done by the time Jalen Green needs a deal, by the time Sengun needs a deal. Asar and Cam Whitmore are a bit more in the future, but we signed really good role players to these 2-3 year deals in hopes that they can get us past, to the promised land during their time. But if they don't, then fine. They leave, and then we give our guys, our young guys, their big deals, and then we just, sign talent around them for what we can afford. But I think you're going to see a lot of that. I think you're going to see a lot of these teams looking at the draft less as wanting projects and more as wanting these kind of guys like Wembanyama that just fresh out the box are ready to play.
I have a few things. One of the Alex Sarr comparisons I think is a lot more accurate is Jaren Jackson Jr. I think let's just not get too crazy. He's really not like he's
Yeah.
one of the better prospects, but nobody's Wemby, so that shouldn't even be
Yeah.
a comparison. Um, the other thing about the way the Rockets handled free agency last year, I personally feel like when you are one of the bottom teams, you're not going to get all the big free agents that are going to turn your franchise around. So
Yeah.
for your young guys, just let them get a taste of winning. Let them learn what success can taste like and what it can be like, and just having these other like I said, like Fred VanVleet, like he's obviously not a top tier player, but he's been around. He's a decent player. Like he could teach.
Yeah.
He could teach the young people
He has a
something,
ring.
and he'll get you some wins.
He has a
And he'll get
ring.
you some wins. So Jalen Green, Sengun, they won. They almost hit the play-in. So
Yes.
they're getting a little taste of what it's like to have some success. So
Good.
so I think that just signing veteran free agents just for that purpose, I think is good. And then
Mhm.
for the Thunder point, we talked about the original big three linking back up in OKC. There are rumors.
That'll be amazing.
There are rumors. LeBron James back to Cleveland is a rumor. Now that
Yes.
No way.
now
I have heard that.
To play with Bronny?
It has to be because of Bronny, right?
Do
well, we
wanna
don't know
talk
where
about
Bronny's
Bronny?
going. We don't know where Bronny's
I
going.
might have to deflate
The
the
G League? No, I'm just playing.
yeah. I might have to deflate the bubble on Bronny James, man.
Honestly, he's gonna be like Michael Jordan Jr., where he's gonna live in the shadow of his dad.
Michael Jordan Jr.
Well, I know.
Imani Bates. Imani Bates.
Money Bates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super hyped in high school, was looked at as this, he's going to be the next Kevin Durant. And Imani Bates is on the Cavaliers roster right now.
He's G League.
And he's in the G. Exactly. The same way that Zaire Wade flamed out once he finally got to the league. I like Bronny. He seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. I like that when they're asking him these questions, they're trying to bait him into quotes. He's like, hey, I want to be Derek White. I want to be Davion Mitchell. I just want to get to the league pretty much. So it's obvious he's got that humility to be willing to go through the long road that he has ahead of him. But, besides his name, He is a mid-second round pick at most. I mean, what did you know what I mean? Like it's not his fault. He had his heart condition at USC. I think he should have stayed another year. I would argue he
just to kind of grow his game.
Yeah.
Sure.
To prove that he can play.
Makes sense.
To get minutes. He didn't get minutes.
You know, it's going to be amazing though if we get Bronny and Bron, because they'll be. I don't. Can somebody fact check? When's the last time son and father
Never.
played in the league together?
Never.
That's
Never.
that's an MLB thing.
If they both play for Cleveland, that's gonna. Regardless if they go far or not, that's a lot of money because that's all the marketing. But that's gonna be sick. Like this,
that would be sick.
No,
see his son.
Bronny is the first guy to play with the dad and the son.
Yeah, that's
Like,
crazy.
I think Dylan Curry.
Oh, that's right. But they played.
But they never played together. The only comparison is Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
But the issue was Jr. was one of the most hyped prospects coming out of coming into the draft,
He's a
and
totally different era.
yeah, and Senior had one of a very long, very illustrious career. I think he played for the Yankees. Eventually ended up with the Mariners. I believe his last year was Junior's rookie year, but Bronny ain't that. I'm sorry to say, he's getting a lot of media coverage because of who he is. But
What were his numbers in USC, by the way? Does he have?
It's like
no?
four
singles. It was single. He was averaging
It's not-
a
yeah.
triple single.
It's not worth mentioning.
Very mediocre. Very mediocre.
You know Boogie?
Yeah, Boogie Ellis.
He was starting over him.
Oh, okay. Well, Boogie's
San Diego great.
Yeah.
half Filipino or
Yeah.
Filipino. Boogie's gonna be good.
He's
The
even played in like
Yeah.
the issue with Bronny is they were worried about his heart, and
Yeah.
guys proved themselves better than him before he even really got a shot. And when he would play, I don't know if you guys watched any USC games, but when Bronny would play, if he made a mistake, if he got a foul, if he got a
You
turnover,
get flustered.
yeah, they pulled him. They pulled him pretty much immediately. You wouldn't see him till the second half of the game. I think he's going to get drafted off his name, but I really don't think that you should spend anything more than a late second round on a guy like that.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting though.
There are questions.
Like, literally-
there are questions about because he is technically allowed to go back to college if he doesn't get drafted, but people were saying like this might be the year. While there is the stipulation that whoever drafts Bronny gets LeBron, like it might be his best chance. Like this might be Bronny's best chance to get drafted, which is why he's
I don't
still
believe-
committing to the draft now instead of waiting.
That's
Because
gonna be tough though.
if LeBron
Yeah.
retires next year, then all the
I see
potential
what you mean.
of LeBron.
His market
Yeah.
goes, his stock.
Yeah.
It's opposed.
Makes sense.
Yeah, some people think you get Bronny, you get LeBron, and that's a package deal, right? You get them both. So it's like, okay, well, we just draft Bronny, then we get LeBron. But then if LeBron's retired, then that's completely off the table. And now you're just getting Bronny, and it's like, okay, well, do we want Bronny? And that's how much.
Yeah, it must be.
And that question's a lot easier to answer than do I want Bronny and LeBron?
Retires, becomes a coach,
I think that LeBron.
and he coaches Bronny.
I 100% call it now. LeBron signs another one-year deal with the Lakers, regardless of where Bronny gets.
One more year as a Laker.
I think he stays with the Lakers. If you look at the off the court stuff, if you look at his movie production company he has, and all of the seeds that he has planted, I mean, he's got a podcast. Once a player has a podcast, you know that they're on the clock. He has already set up the after career stuff. I mean, and LeBron James has made $1 billion in the NBA.
He might as well just coach LA at this point. I think pretty much he doesn't like every coach that comes over.
He practically does. I don't know if you guys read the articles about Darvin Ham and him. He practically coached him last year.
If they gave him the players coach, I mean that would pretty be nasty. I think he'd be more focused on less scoring, but more on like actually getting the team like involved. Because I mean they got a young team too. I mean I was a fan of Brewery when he came into the league, Hachimura, and he's. I know I'm gonna get crap for this because they're like, "You're a Celtics." I was like, "Yeah, but I know a lot about
when he
LA."
came to the league.
Yeah, Rudy, he's nasty with it, and I'm like, he has a lot of potential. I think he's gonna be good.
I watched him in college.
Yeah, and then
it was nice in college.
AD still has, even though he's like pretty much like a tin man, like he gets hurt a lot, but we'll see. I mean, yeah, if he stays one more year, but that'd be cool if we get a sun tandem. There's no way Bronny's going to Lakers though. I mean,
he's
people,
a first round pick
huh?
for some reason.
You
A
think
lot of people are looking at him
as the first round?
Yeah, like a mid first round.
No.
Maybe he's second round. He's on the money. He's right. That's the smartest.
Maybe he'll be number 21, 22. How about
Yeah,
that?
something like that.
Yeah, not top 10.
But the Lakers
No.
can't pick him up.
Oh, what's the
I
Lakers?
think they're second round.
They're a second round?
I'm not sure about their.
They lost their first round pick, or
They all traded away because of like
all the movements they made.
like AD. You got traded for like Lonzo.
Oh, I see what you mean. Those long term deals.
Yeah.
Okay. But man, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I mean, again, living in the moment, I think this is a great time to become an NBA fan.
Yeah.
For those that aren't watching NBA, because a lot of it's more exciting. I mean, not saying the game wasn't exciting back then, but now you have just a lot of this like big names coming, and the talent that are getting picked up. It's not just like, oh, the top 10 draft is the best and that's it. Like all around, people getting drafted like second, third round. Even G League people are starting to come up. Like you said earlier, Siakam came from the G League. I think Van Fleet came from the G League, and they won a ring. So it's kind of like, oh, now the talent is starting to not just be focal on the top tier players, but you got the people who know they're going to be role players and they're okay with that. But the fact that they're playing their role and they're actually like doing it, like whether that's defense or rebounds or scoring off the bench, and they're actually like fantastic. I think that's amazing, and that's kind of like, I feel like that's the new thing about the league now. It's just you can't just have a top one, two guy and think you're going to win it all.
Definitely look at Wemby.
Yeah.
For the next couple of years.
Oh, if you're a Spurs fan, you'd be happy. My friend's a Spurs fan, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was big on that Wemby pick, and then if they put him a good like next 5 years, get a good roster on him. Oh, Tim Duncan. Yeah, that'd be amazing, or Admiral or whatever, but probably Tim Duncan, more Tim Duncan.
Maybe not more Tim Duncan, because Tim Duncan doesn't people don't look at Tim Duncan as like a great player. They don't even have him in the top 5.
He shot those pretty good shots, though.
No, yeah, he's a top 5 player
yeah,
for me.
I think he's good.
He's just very boring.
I mean, we got to take out personality side. If we just look at the game.
Yeah, we look at the game. He's definitely Tim Duncan.
Yeah, he's top center for sure. Yeah. I don't know. People could say center or power forward, but
he's for sure center.
Yeah.
The only player that's like in that Wemby tier.
Yeah.
Like Chet, I think he's more forward. He's not a center.
It's so funny that he hurt.
Because he can't get rebounded.
He hurt himself playing a charity game.
Oh, because of last
year? Yeah, last year. Did he get Rookie of the Year this year? I don't remember.
No, that's not.
Oh, I was about to say, if they get Rookie of the Year, that's a big snub.
It's definitely one.
Yeah. I mean, see, that's the thing. Like I said, different era of basketball. We could go talk hours about that. Like, 2010, even below that, you never would think you'd see a big center guy who plays center actually play like a guard.
Yeah.
And like can actually take the ball, can actually dribble, can actually shoot.
Yeah.
And still get the same blocks and rebounds as a center. Fast. It'd be fast, yeah, man. How long did it take Shaq to get back and forth?
Even in his prime.
Yeah, even in his prime, he was fast, but that's what they call him with Diesel. But I mean, do you guys know anybody who plays like Shaq in this league? I don't think we see that anymore.
The closest is Giannis. The closest is Giannis.
Yeah,
but Giannis is a freak.
That's true.
A little bit of Zion.
Zion.
I'll say like
a little bit of
How tall is Zion? He's what 6'6"? 6'6".
Yeah.
He's 300 pounds. Hey, but that guy, I mean, if he loses weight, he'll be pretty good.
He's getting there. He's getting there.
He's getting there. I'm not sure if you guys saw that one highlight reel. I think it was before the playoff, or it might have been the bubble game where he just. I think no, it was in the regular season where he did that really oop. It was like from like 5 feet away. He caught it just in the air.
Oh,
it was ridiculous. It was this year, yeah. Dang. It literally looked like a NBA slam dunk competition. Yeah, somebody threw. I forgot who threw it up from. He just chucked it up like this.
It's gotta be like Jose Alvarado or CJ McCollum.
I think it was McCollum who gave him the oop, but it was pretty nasty. But
dang,
Zion, he has potential.
I feel like he should have went up and do market.
Yeah, he has potential.
He just needs to give 30 of his pounds to Chet, and then they'll both be 10 times better.
Yeah, if Chet Holmgren if he gets some weight on him,
I was
he'll
gonna say
be super versatile.
he's in his
Oh,
second
definitely.
year. He's in his second
Yeah.
year. He has time to hit the weight room. I
Yep.
still think he'll be good. I'm not out on him. He'll be okay.
I believe in him too. He's pretty good. I think he gets a lot of haters because of his stature, because he's super skinny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, if he develop, like you said, if he goes to the weight room, if he develops, like this his IQ too,
Yeah.
he'll be good. But we'll see. I mean, again, if he gets hurt again, that's the only bad thing about these big guys because they play a different type of basketball. If they get injured, it's kind of like that's it.
Definitely.
But I think what's amazing, I think we're also going to talk like this new type of athlete. They could tear their ACL, and back then, you tear your ACL, your career's over.
That's
Bro,
Yeah,
Modern
like that's
medicine.
it. But they come back, yeah, like modern medicine, like just their thought of my career is not over. Like I can keep playing with after a torn ACL. You have what's his name? Who I think is one of the first guys he played with no ACLs in his knees. He was a spur. Was it Bowie?
Bowie? Bruce Bowen?
Yeah, he had no ACLs. I think like or
I was like,
damn. I didn't know that.
he had somebody has to fact check that, but somebody played with no like ACL stuff in there, and I was like, that's crazy. But it's amazing how fast. Well, again, they make a lot of money, so they have to.
Yeah.
They're not going to pay somebody like how much million to sit on the bench for a year.
DeJuan Blair is the one without ACLs. It's
Dewan Blair, yeah, Dewan
DeJuan
Blair.
Blair.
He played with
So,
I thought I was close. Bowen Blair, same
So,
pair. No, I'm just kidding.
so one thing that we did
Yes.
for the last round of the playoffs, we talked about why each team lost. We didn't really do that much,
Okay.
and we already touched on it in the East. I feel like there wasn't really too much to talk about in the East. The
Yeah.
Knicks had a bunch of injuries. They couldn't sustain.
Yep.
They ran short. The Cavs had an injury. Their team just wasn't as good as the Celtics. And we'll talk a lot about them in the offseason because they've already I think they're bound to shake things up. But in the West, what we're talking about Chet, Chet does need to put on some weight because he got bodied in that
Yeah.
game 7. He's been
Yeah,
out
he was got
rebounded.
exposed.
Derek Lively was taking that guy to school, so he
I mean, I
he
heard they were
absolutely
talking a
needs
lot
to
of
put.
crap too. Though. I heard they were talking a lot of crap too. Like they thought they had it in the bag already. Like, oh, game 7, like it's a dagger. So because they're young and they're like, well, we're gonna steamroll this team,
Yeah.
but clearly they got rocked. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's part of why.
there's a lot. I think there's a lot of growth in that. Like when you mentioned earlier, like you said with the Pacers, they didn't even know they're gonna go to the East Coast Finals this year. So I think with that expectation, if they get more experience, but yeah, the Thunder, they were hot the whole season, and then they got their train stopped.
Yeah.
When Dallas came to town. Um, but yeah, it's I think it's that veteran mindset that they need to develop.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, nobody thought. I was reading like on Instagram and the percentage they gave Denver a 2% chance of going to win
Really?
the title after
Yeah.
with this season when they were down 0-2 and they went to game 7.
Oh right.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they get no not pre-playoffs, but during playoffs. So like
Yeah.
when they were down 0-2 at that point, they're like they have a 2% chance, and I mean, well, it's only 2%, but damn, they almost pulled it off. Like that was
Yeah.
crazy. Down 0-2, and they came up to game 7, but they didn't pull it off. Like you said, speaking with the teams that lost in the West, I think Denver will still pop off next year. I feel like it was just. I mean, they went to the semifinals. That's still pretty good.
They were up 20.
I know that's the thing, though.
That's
That's the hard thing, but
Yeah.
like you said, I remember we were talking about it before you guys even were thinking about brewing this podcast. You're saying Anthony Edwards is him. That's PJ was toted. I mean, this is when I was kind of like paying attention, but not really to Anthony Edwards, and he's like, "Ooh, you gotta watch this guy," and I was like, "Is that good?" You're like,
No, yeah,
he's like he's the new Jordan. And I was like, no way, you're comparing to Jordan. And then he showed me this video where like you see an Anthony Edwards move, and you see a Jordan move, and it's almost exactly the same.
Like how Kobe had it.
Yeah.
He's like one of the first guards I see now in this league attacking the rim like the way MJ
Right?
attacking the rim.
He has no fear. It's crazy. It's just like, and the way he shoots is just like his shots are clutch. Like,
Yeah.
but I mean, I guess props to them for taking that 20-point deficit and just eating it.
No, yeah.
I just think they wanted it more than.
That's true. Probably. I mean, there was no injuries in Denver, were there? No, right?
No. CP.
Okay.
He got hurt one game.
It's his quad, I think, and then Jamal Murray, he was like playing on like a ankle or thing.
Oh, he had a hurt ankle.
Yeah, but he played on it. But he was still like.
Yeah.
No, I've said that we had a podcast. Me and Jacob, we had a podcast. You know Ty, right? We played basketball with him.
So off-season, a little off-camera conversation.
Camera conversation. We did a podcast with. I had Ty on a podcast, and I don't know if you know Luis. He was the only Mexican that had dreads. Nice. Well, we had a podcast.
I actually remember him. Now that yes, I do know who he's talking about. I know who he's talking about.
So
I don't know if Jesus knows.
me and Jacob had a podcast with them, and I said that Anthony Edwards is the next Michael Jordan. This was 2 years ago. I mean, look at him now.
He was nothing really 2 years ago, too. Right? When he came in?
Mike, was it his 4th year that he won his first ring, or was it his 5th year that he won his first ring? Because the Bad Boy Pistons had him in
he won it in 92,
91 against the Lakers.
91?
Because 95 was when he was out, right? So it was
Yeah.
92, 93, 94.
Yep.
95 he's out. 96, 97, 98. Okay.
And he came in the league 1985. Was it 85 or 84?
Was it? Damn. Was it 7 years?
It took him a while.
It took him a while, yeah. Because he was by himself. He didn't have Scotty till like
Yeah.
92?
87.
87 when Scotty came in?
But he wasn't Scottie Pippen yet.
No, he was still developing himself.
And they hadn't built that roster around him.
Yeah.
They had some pretty good role players. I mean, that's a little bit before my time. So Ron Harper, oh boy from the Magic that had the goggles, Horace Grant.
They had
Steve Kerr, Tony Kukoc. They had a good squad. They had good role players. And if we're talking role players, I mean, nobody's got better role players right now than Anthony Edwards. That's left of these 4 teams. Nobody's got better role. Yeah. Well, the Celtics are a little top heavy. Derek White's, but those are starters. When you get out of the starters, you've got Derek White.
And he started.
Drew Holiday.
No, Drew Holiday started.
Aren't they both starting?
Is Derek White starting?
Yeah,
Who starts over Derek White?
Wow, that's bad because I'm watching this live and I didn't even notice.
Who starts over? Who would start over Derek White though?
From the Timberwolves.
Well, I guess for now, because Porzingis is out. Because Porzingis is out, Derek White's starting. That's why. But usually he's off the bench.
That's right. He comes off the 6th.
Off the bench. Is Slow-Mo still playing for them? Kyle Anderson? Does Kyle Anderson even get minutes anymore?
On the bench.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, when you got the 6th man of the year, you're always going to have, the top bench guy. But I'm trying to think, who else does the Wolves have coming off the bench right now?
don't know if
Alexander Walker.
Yeah, Nickel Alexander Walker, who was a Pelicans legend.
Yup.
He was great for the. I mean, when you look at the Pelicans' history, you might as well list him as a legend. They got Nickel. They got Nas.
Jordan McLaughlin. But he doesn't play as much as Nickel Alexander.
And shout out to Jordan because he whooped my state SDSU, UConn when we made it to the Natty.
Man,
I was there in person for that. Watching.
that was a tough loss. I mean, it was really. That was probably.
I don't want to talk college ball. I'm an Aztecs alumni, baby, and I love my Aztecs, and I love.
I was actually there when Leonard. I went back to school and he was there.
Yeah,
he was.
Man, I was in person for the Lamont Butler game winner. That was I ended up on how many news stations did we?
Oh, were you on?
I ended up on like 3 news stations.
When he called game,
yeah, because they kept interviewing me about that shot because I was running around. All the news, I think I had like KUSI, Fox, CBS. They were all
last year. That was last year.
because I'm going nuts. Yeah, that was last year. This
That was
year
thick.
we got knocked out again by
Yeah.
UConn. I hate talking college ball, man, because
Oh my gosh.
what Holly just do?
He hit a
Yeah,
tough
like-
shot.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just paid $70 off of that 3-pointer, so that's all I
Alright,
know. I just
Our-
made money off that.
our conversation has gone a lot of different directions. One thing I want to say real
Yeah,
quick.
so
One thing I want to say real
Go on,
quick.
Tank. Ladies and gentlemen.
We're talking about the teams that got bounced out. What can they do to recover?
Real quick about the
Really?
Nuggets. So obviously we can point to Game 7. They blew a 20-point lead, and Jamal Murray and Jokic were the only people on that team to score. We cannot. That's obvious. I think they lost because of the first two games. They were not locked in. The team
that's
after
true.
they had that 4-day break from Game 2 to 3, they look like a completely different team. If that team played
Yeah.
in Game 1 and 2,
Oh, they would
they
be different.
they might not even be here in the Game 7. So to me, they lost because they weren't locked in from the Lakers series. Because I thought they looked sloppy even in that series. And then they continued to look sloppy until they got beat to shit in Game 2. To me, that's why they lost, because they had dug a hole for themselves, and now they're fighting against an 0-2 deficit against the Timberwolves. Like the way someone worded it is, if you're down 0-2, you have to win 4 out of the next 5. 4 out of the
that's
next
tough.
5. That is really
tough.
that is tough. And as you can see, they couldn't pull it off. So to me, they lost. They lost the mental game, which, as I remember who said it was, somebody said, you expect them to go in with a championship mentality. They didn't have it, and that's why they lost to me.
Well, I agree with that because, I mean, like you said, they were expected to steamroll the Lakers. Like, let's be honest, like that was the expectation. But I mean, the Lakers just they came short with the last minute shots by Jamal Murray.
Jamal Murray killed him.
The last minute, he wasn't even have that good game. But like you said, that definitely is a chemistry killer, or like a momentum killer when you have that. You're the big what's it called? The big man on campus. Like you won the championship last year, so your expectation is high. But then if you're barely beating the Lakers, then it's like, well, where's this? They didn't change anything from last year, right? There wasn't any big changes from last year's team
From the Lakers team?
No, from the Nuggets.
From the Nuggets? No.
Right?
They
So
did the same.
So I agree
It's
with
like
that. Once you lose that momentum shift, it's like you can't catch up. Like if you try to catch up, it's like I don't. Has there any team that has came back from a like let's say 0-2 or 0-3?
There's a 0-3 the Heat, but
Oh,
then they
yeah.
lost.
The 0-2
The Celtics. Then
I was gonna
has
say, nobody's come
happened.
back from 03, right?
0-2 has happened
It's-
5 times, I believe. 0-3 has never happened. 0-3's never happened.
Yeah.
But statistically, it's almost like impossible
Yeah.
to go back 0-2. But I agree, if they had started hot, if they even split it 1-1, I think the Nuggets, we'd be talking Nuggets Mavs right now.
Yeah.
yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Losing on your home court is always especially getting swept on your home
that's
court to
tough.
open. I mean, you are completely behind at that point. And like you said, Jacob, you got to win 4 or 5. And you can be a great team. The Nuggets are a great team. They've got the greatest player in the NBA right now in Jokic. But you're asking for excellence, and it's hard to ask for excellence out of any team.
Oh, yeah.
And you literally have no room for mistakes. You can give up one game, but even then, what are you going to do? You're going to go down 3-0. You're going to go down 3-1, 3-2. They truly had to be excellent. I think that for the Nuggets, their bounce back, they got to really look at their roster. Obviously Jokic is Jokic is the best player in the NBA. You're not going to question him. Jamal Murray, I think that he's earned his stripes.
Yep.
For sure.
After that, I'm somebody who likes Michael Porter Jr., but then you even got to look at
he was good in high school.
He was
the best player. He's so good. Yeah, he's so good.
When a dude like Christian Braun is leading the bench, I think that they're missing Jeff Green. I'm gonna be honest with you. They're missing a guy like Jeff Green. They're missing forwards off the bench.
Bruce Brown.
They're missing. KCP is Mr. Hot and Cold. He's always been like that since the Pistons. But then you got to ask. I mean, who do they bring in? You know what I mean? Like, who's on the market this year to bring in that you say, oh my God, this guy shifts it for the bench. This guy shifts it, because you're not really looking at starters. I mean, Aaron Gordon's good. I think Aaron Gordon's earned his spot as the 4. I think that, obviously Jokic, you've got Jamal. Like, do you bring in a 1? If you could somehow, wave a wand and bring Mike Conley to the Nuggets, and obviously that solves a lot, but that ain't happening.
Yeah, is that happening?
That ain't happening.
Yeah.
The reason why they lost to the Timberwolves is because of a guy like Mike Conley. They don't got that. They don't got a Drew Holiday. They don't got these like true defensive minded who also have enough offense to be your 3rd option, your 4th option.
You need a guy like Jaden McDaniels, not Mike Conley.
You think so?
Jaden McDaniels.
That's why they won Game 7. Jaden McDaniels blew up the game. He was stopping.
Was the
You can watch the post game interviews.
So
they were saying
he helped Cole.
It's because he was hot that night too.
Jaden McDaniels.
Yeah,
He was hitting.
he was hitting the shots. He had 18 points. But he's not like the 3rd option. He's not the.
Yeah.
He could be the 4th option because Rudy Gobert doesn't have that offensive game.
I did not know that Jamal Murray is playing point guard for the Denver Nuggets.
Oh, you thought he's a combo guard though.
But exactly, he's a combo guard. He should not be playing point guard.
They don't. The reason why they don't
He's
get a point guard.
more of a 2 or what?
He's way more of a 2.
Yeah.
Jamal Murray should be playing 2.
KCP is 2.
But because they don't have a 1.
So who's their actual 1? They don't.
They don't have a 1.
Oh.
They've got a Holiday brother getting minutes off the bench.
No, the 1 is Jokic. He's just fat.
Oh, Jokic is a general then. He's
just fat.
But even still, you still need a 1.
No,
you still need that secondary playmaking, and you could say Jamal Murray, but that's just not his mindset. Jamal Murray should be focused like Bradley Beal should be focused on scoring.
If they get him a 1, maybe it's a different story. Like a solid 1,
like a Mike Conley, like a Drew Holiday. You look at the market and you say, who can we bring in that's a solid starting 1 who can allow, because if KCP's coming off the bench, that bench gets bolstered immediately.
I think Chris Paul's a free agent next year. That's the best you can go because he's the only real point guard.
7-year-old Chris Paul solves the Nuggets.
That would be amazing.
As a second
option, yeah, like off the bench, or not even off the bench, but like he'll play, but not like the he won't be like
he's a vet.
Yeah, he's a vet.
Playmaking. If Jokic is off the floor. Who else in the league? Because Tyrese Halliburton is the only quote-unquote true point guard.
Yeah.
He doesn't call himself a true point guard.
But the Nuggets don't need that. The Nuggets don't. You've got superstars.
If Jokic off the floor, who's going to be doing all the offense making? Besides Jamal Murray just shooting his fadeaway mid-ranges.
You need, I would even argue, because I know they got one of the Holiday brothers playing for them. You need the other one. You need Aaron. You need Aaron Holiday in there.
He doesn't play like Drew. Justin doesn't play like Drew either for the Rockets.
I think they need a 1, man. I think TJ McConnell. I'll just say that. They need like a TJ McConnell. They
need TJ McConnell. I think he's going to stay with the Pacers for life.
Because with Halliburton there?
Yeah. He's the perfect backup for Tyrese Halliburton. If Tyrese Halliburton's not off the floor, then TJ McConnell's there to make the plays for the rest of the team.
But TJ McConnell's a starting level point guard on a team that's in need of a point guard. You would take TJ McConnell. Wow, I can't. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. This is a 1-point game. This has been an incredible game that we've been watching.
They were up by like 14.
They were up by 9.
And I said something about Pascal Siakam not. He's been good, not great. Pascal Siakam's got 16 points, 11 boards, 6 assists tonight. He has absolutely stepped up in this game 1. And like we talked about way earlier, this is what the Pacers need. They need bench dudes. Look at TJ just scored. TJ McConnell just scored. I was just seeing his praises.
Oh, we talked about it pre-game. If the bench comes up, then that's the biggest it factor. I mean, again, they're playing without Porzingis, but they gotta win game 1 to set the tone. They can't go 0-2.
Yeah.
Because again, I want them to win game 1 because if they track record speeds, they haven't won game 2 yet.
Yeah.
They haven't won game 2.
I don't know. I don't think CJ McCollum's gonna become Denver Nugget. If you really want,
who's a big free agent? Like a one big free agent? Is there
I'm about to look it up.
All right. Well,
I have
I'll be honest, guys. I'll be honest. This episode's an hour and a half. and we're gonna have to put a cap on the conversation. We got
Continue to.
It'll be TBD, ladies and gentlemen.
when we got all these guests, we do a lot of yapping. So we're gonna finish
Yeah.
out this game, the Celtics Pacers game. We're in the fourth quarter, so we're gonna keep watching. If it's close, I'll have our reaction. I'll be able to post that. But for now,
Yes.
thank you to all our guests. Does anybody have any final words before we get out of here?
NCAA college football is going to be great, ladies and gentlemen. We need NCAA basketball ASAP. That's my final thought.
I mean, I hope for good series, just for NBA's sake. I mean, again, I really want the Celtics to go all the way, but we'll see. That this game is really close. Money talks.
Yep.
You
For
Jesus?
sure.
Nope.
Good.
I got Timberwolves winning all the way. Timberwolves in 6 in the finals. I
Yep.
got them all the way.
Damn. One more thought. Sophia, I love you. You love my life.
Hey,
I love you so much. Every time I'm on here, I got to say it.
you better subscribe. Tell her
And
to.
she did subscribe.
Okay,
Did
good.
subscribe.
Good.
Hey.
All right. Now we're talking. All right. And if you're still watching, if you made it to the end, you better subscribe too.
Yeah.
Off-season
Come
content,
on.
draft content, more playoffs content. Leave a like, leave a comment. Thank you so much for watching. This is the Hooper Soul Podcast. And we'll see you next time. Peace out.